Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Podcast about anything New York City, from urban planning to news to city life to history. Me and my guests are happy to tell our stories and input our experience and ideas about the wonderful city we live in and have some fun in the process. My name is Ishan Metha, and you're listening to BeaconSpireNYC. I'm here today with Lauren Janakos. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm happy to be here. I'm a little nervous. This is my first podcast, but I'm really happy to talk about NYC.
That sounds great. So, today is May 12th, 2026, and we'll be discussing Queens, the Bronx, Park Avenue, and more. So, Lauren, I know you didn't always live in New York City,
Yes.
but you moved there.
Yes, so I was born on Long Island, technically, in Nassau County, which is kind of close to Queens, but it's very different from Queens. My dad is a Greek immigrant and he grew up in Jamaica. So that was the first area of New York City that I became familiar with. And then I went to St. John's for college, and I didn't take advantage of my proximity to New York City while I was in high school, like your age, and that's something that I really regret because the city has so much to offer, and it's obviously not just Manhattan. But my experience at St. John's was amazing. It got me familiar and comfortable, taking public transit on my own, which is something that kids from Long Island don't usually do. It got me comfortable kind of expressing myself and advocating for myself. So I had a really wonderful experience there. And Jamaica, Queens in general has a very special place in my heart.
Yep, same with me, Once you go to Queens, you learn a lot more. I definitely learned how to take public transportation on my own by walking all the way to Queens Center Mall from Manhattan, and I had to get home, so I just had to quickly look up how to take the subway.
Yeah.
And that was it. So these maps, it makes it a lot easier now to do stuff like that, to learn really quickly, which is great.
Yeah. It's also the best way to learn when you're in those situations where you just kind of have to roll with it. You don't get as nervous or overwhelmed.
Yeah. As a kid, I was definitely always tethered to Manhattan a lot. Did a lot of downtown Manhattan stuff, went to school in Manhattan. And then I moved up to a higher apartment, and I had a gorgeous view of Queens from there. I could see so much, and it was all very different. I didn't know what it was, what was there. And like one thing, for example, far away, there was like a tiny little spire, like a little tower, super far away. And I always wondered what it could be. I spent a lot of time looking on maps and Google Earth trying to find it. I went through some other buildings in Queens I could see out of my window. It was very interesting. That's what made me learn a lot more about Queens. Eventually, I started taking walks in Queens, learning about all these places. I would find places that I can see out of my window, and I would go there. It definitely felt a lot different from Manhattan, and that's what I liked about it. And the fact that it's just been laying there from my eyes view of the comfort of my own home, and I just never knew it. And then it took me a long time to find the spire. Took me many years, but I finally found it. It was a chimney near Union Turnpike. It was at in Jamaica.
Yes,
It was
yeah.
at a hospital.
Yeah.
And that was great. And still to this day, I find many different pieces of interest that I can see from my window. Like I did once find a water tower that's in Lynbrook that I can slightly see from my window.
No, that's Long Island, yeah.
Just a few days ago, I was looking out now north to the Bronx, and I found more places from the Bronx that I can see from my window. I've been focusing on Queens mostly. I'm trying to move on to the Bronx now. But that's the thing. It's like, people, whenever they show a building, they show the view of like if it's in Queens, they show the Manhattan skyline, or if it's like something where in Manhattan, they show the westward view of New Jersey. Like, I want to see Queens. I want to see Brooklyn on those panoramas.
And New York City is more than just Manhattan. When you go to the outer boroughs, like in Queens and the Bronx, like you actually see like what New York actually is. And it's people of different cultures, people of different backgrounds, like coming together in their neighborhood, which is something that I've always loved about Queens. And I also admire that because like you said, most people prefer the Manhattan skyline or like the New Jersey waterfront. So it's nice to have that view of Queens and admire and appreciate it. It shows you're a true New Yorker.
It really makes you think, like what's out there. And yeah, it's kind of sad now because now I know like every point from my view of Queens, and now that's gone, that feeling. But hopefully I'll have it again if I move to an apartment that outlooks Brooklyn. I'll look at the Bronx more like I've been doing. And that's what makes it great. There are always very many different ends of New York that's going to be different. Like, there's Midtown Manhattan and all that touristy stuff. Then there's somewhere like Fresh Meadows. Very different place.
Yeah.
In Queens.
Definitely more residential. There are like houses, which is, crazy to see because you don't normally see that in Manhattan. It's all apartments and brownstones. So yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, I know with my friend, like I was talking to him about like New York and he kept thinking New York was just apartments. This was just last night. And like I was trying to show him like there are regular houses. He's like there's no pools and backyards because he lives in New Jersey. He thinks the New York way of New York.
Yes.
So
yeah.
it's interesting to see that
Yeah.
that appeal.
Yeah, from the more like stereotypical
Yes.
lens. Yeah, from the Getty images and that kind of stuff. I also find like the restaurants in Queens, like you find so many great like hidden gems. Growing up, my family's favorite place to like go out was John's Pizza. It's in Jamaica on Parsons Boulevard, and it's the friendliest people, the best pizza you've eaten, and just so many places like that that are undiscovered and not known as the stereotypical part of Manhattan. That's really great to see and great to experience.
All right, yeah. It's great. I know you also like exploring the Bronx, not just Queens, which
Yes.
I've been trying to get into. I've
Yes.
covered a lot of Queens. Now I want to move on to the Bronx.
Yeah. So the Bronx, the part I'm probably most familiar with is like the Fordham area and kind of by Arthur Avenue. It's a very like Italian American part of the Bronx. Growing up, my dad worked in the Bronx. He helps to build schools. And for a long time, all of the schools he was building were in that area. And he would always bring home like the best cold cuts, like mozzarella. He would bring home like loaves of bread. And eventually, as me and my brothers got older, we started to go with him. And now it's like a tradition of ours. Like once a month, we all go and we get different kinds of food and we walk around the area. And you develop, familiarity with the people in the different markets and the different shops. I love that part of the Bronx. I love the Bronx in general. And it's really undiscovered. Like a lot of people don't think to trek there. You kind of think of the stereotypes that you see online. And it's really easy when you've never been to a place to kind of question the safety of it and things like that.
Yeah, how would you say the safety is when you go there to Belmont
Yeah.
and Fordham?
I would say no matter where you are, you should always have your wits about you, right? You should always be able to assess a situation. And if you see crazy across the street, that kind of thing. I've never personally had a negative experience. I think it's generally pretty safe, but you should always keep your wits about you. And you should always just try to put your best foot forward and try to be mindful of also things that you're doing and how it could be uncomfortable.
Right. I know when I was visiting Fordham University a lot back when I was considering going there, a lot of them said it felt very safe there.
Yes.
Even though they say Belmont is one of the worst areas, it didn't seem like that to them or to you.
No, not to me, no. Yeah, Fordham is a beautiful campus, and it's such a large campus with a lot of greenery, which is really pretty. I know you're going to NYU. But that's also another reason why I would go up to the Bronx. I had a friend in high school, and that's where she went, and we would always visit her. And we would take the express bus from Manhattan to the Bronx, or we would take, the train and all that stuff. And it was always enjoyable. I always loved going to the Belmont area.
Yeah. Love Fordham University. I gone to NYU, otherwise I would have chosen Fordham. But I will be going there anyway, to their Manhattan campus during the summer for the New York Times summer program.
Excellent.
So there'll be that.
Yeah.
With Arthur Avenue and that place, I went there once with my friend. It was really nice, and we bought some bread, and that was kind of it, but I got a feel of it. And then I was told about Spoon Toes, the pizza place.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
so then on my 18th birthday, me and my family went there for dinner.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. Where did you get the bread from? Was it Madonna's bakery?
I don't remember where we got the bread from.
Yeah, because that's where I usually go. They have amazing bread and pastries if you like baked goods and things like that.
Yeah, so a lot of great places in the Bronx. I think what's also hard is that, yes, there are bad places. So when you're new to looking in the Bronx, it becomes kind of difficult to find those good places. Because you see people on social media saying like, hey, stop saying this about the Bronx. They're really nice places. And then it's like, which places? Why are you gatekeeping them? Like,
Yeah.
And then you hear like, oh, Riverdale. Like, yes, I know Riverdale is safe, but where else? And from what I've heard, I know there's City Island, Morris Park, Parkchester. There are nice places, and I have to look through those. But it's like really like, where are the safe parts, and how should it be in the worst parts?
Yeah. And sometimes it's just a matter of like, obviously, safely, just taking the trip up to those places and looking around. I really like to go to like different neighborhoods, and this is something that I've primarily done in Manhattan, but I'm starting to do this in other neighborhoods as well, and just kind of walking around the neighborhood and seeing what it has to offer, and like maybe trying like a coffee shop, maybe going into like the mom and pop stores and, contributing to local businesses. I really enjoy doing that part too. Yeah, so Arthur Avenue is a great place if you enjoy doing that kind of stuff as well.
Then I know there's also the situation with the subways. How is taking the subways up there? Do you take them on your own?
Usually no. Usually I'm with someone else when I go up to the Bronx. I've driven there. I've taken the subway there. I've taken the express bus.
Yes.
Yeah, like the express bus is very safe. I would never worry about that. I think with the subway in general, same thing. You should always have your wits about you. I don't make eye contact. I mind my own business. I don't get into a car that's empty. That's common sense for a lot of people. And just always just keeping to yourself. Minding your P's and Q's is really important when you're traveling on public transportation, period.
Yeah, the express bus is definitely greater.
It's easier too. Yeah.
I'd say I took it once when I went to see my friend, which was great. It goes straight from the Upper East Side in my area to so many places. Morris Park, Riverdale. There are some downsides. There's the price and all that. There's also just like you're worrying. It's like, is it even going to show up? Because they don't really show like the times for it as well as they do for all the other buses. Kind of like a less known about thing. And I'm sure everyone else there is also so old and smart, and they're like, who is this guy? Why is he not sitting down the right way? Or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think the express bus kind of reminds me of the LIRR, where like if you miss it, like you're waiting another hour for it to come. So the subway is definitely more convenient if you're someone who like lives on Long Island or maybe in like an outer part of Queens. Driving and just taking the Throgs Neck Bridge is also easy, but you have the toll.
If only that was open to pedestrians.
Yes.
My friend was in the Bronx once. He said I might walk across that bridge. I had to break the news to him.
Yeah. Are there any bridges that are walkable that connect from Manhattan to the Bronx?
From Manhattan to the Bronx? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
From Queens to the Bronx?
No.
No, not even a ferry. They don't even have any ferries.
Wow. That's something that should
They have ferries from Manhattan to the Bronx. They have not connected any to Bayside or College Point yet.
Yeah.
Though there have been people who have wanted to, they've never been able to make it in the power to do that. I guess the best connection they really have is go through the Bronx to Randall's Island and then to Queens from there. Same connection as Manhattan when you're going through Randall's Island.
Yeah.
And that's literally it.
That would be a good idea. If anyone from the MTA is listening, that would be a really good, like the ferry especially would be for people who travel or commute. That would be a wonderful addition.
Yeah. If you can't get the bridge, at least get the ferry, because that would be useful.
Yeah. No, I have to say that's the only form of transportation in New York I haven't done was taking a ferry.
Ferry?
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
When I would be done with track, I would take them from Astoria to the Upper East Side because they said it was faster than the subway. This year they've said the subway is faster, so I haven't been taking the ferry, but it's always been great taking the ferry straight there because in the subway I have to go all the way down through Midtown and back up. If only they could just build a bridge, because I would love to go to Astoria more often, but you have to go the long way.
Yeah, Astoria is beautiful. They have like a large like Greek American population, so I would go there growing up too sometimes to the different like Greek markets and Greek restaurants. But I was much younger. I like would only know it by like the landmarks, like walking. I wouldn't know the names of the places. Yeah.
I would know things by the spots I could see from my window.
Oh, yes, because you could see Astoria Park from your apartment, I'm sure, right?
I cannot, but I can see like the Upper East Side, which is another reason why I love Astoria. Is like not just viewing Midtown, I can actually view my area, which is great. All right, so now we will be transitioning to our current event segment of this podcast, which for today will be the Park Avenue redesign. So I will be reading the start of this article from the New York Times. New York City wants to redesign Park Avenue. Here's how it might look, by Andy Newman. The city plans to widen the median on an 11-block stretch of the boulevard, removing 2 traffic lanes to provide space where people can stroll or linger, standing in the skinny strip between the northbound and southbound lanes of Park Avenue. Surrounded by honking horns and whizzing or crawling traffic, it is a little hard to picture it as a place to sit and relax. Right here in the middle of the road? Pooja Rangathan asked as she was passing by on Tuesday afternoon. But that is what New York City is planning. On Wednesday, it unveiled 2 possible redesigns for an 11-block stretch of the boulevard, from East 46th Street to East 57th Street, both aimed at transforming one of the city's least inviting green spaces into, at the very least, a decent place to eat a sandwich. 2 traffic lanes, 1 in each direction, will be sacrificed to make the median about twice as wide. Renderings of the plans show broad, sweeping walkways, rows of trees, benches, and in one of the 2 versions, bicycle lanes. The city is also promising innovative streetscape amenities, which the transportation department said included creating an urban forest on the median. So yeah, based on the renderings, it's like right now Park Avenue in Manhattan, it has like a median in the middle of the road. That's just trees and stuff, but now, according to the plans, they'll have a walkway through where you can just walk through instead of having trees in the way.
Yeah.
And then another plan where they have a walkway, but also bikes. So it would be an enormously wide walking space, which I would love because,
And that's such a congested area to walk in. So having that like median in the middle of the road too would also help with foot traffic.
when I walk down Manhattan sometimes, like I want a place to walk. I can't always do the waterfront because as I said last episode, a lot of it is closed. I can go down Central Park, but that only goes down so far and you get tired of it. I go down Park Avenue, but having a median in the middle where you can walk down is great. The only thing, there are some problems that I have with it.
Yes.
First of all, I'm still going to have to wait at crosswalks to get through. And it's like, looks like the plan is not going to remove those crosswalks. I like to just walk. I don't want to have to stop.
Yeah.
So at least remove some of the crosswalks, make the intersections be like a little bit farther. And also, it's only from like 46th Street to 57th Street, not the Upper East Side where I am.
Yes, it's more like Midtown area. I also think it could cause more like car congestion.
Yeah,
Because they're
there's always
taking
that
away a
problem.
lane on both sides. I mean, I think it's a nice idea. I think especially Midtown in general needs more of that greenery. And a lot of major like office buildings are right there. And, you know, just having like somewhere to sit on your break or if you're a student on your way home from school, just being able to sit there and, enjoy the greenery. One thing that I did read in the article, and it gave me a lot of relief actually, because what I was thinking of is sometimes, people aren't paying attention while they drive and they could go up on the median. They're actually raising the platform so a car wouldn't be able to go up on the median. So that any concerns I had, it relieved some of them.
Yeah, that definitely makes things greater.
Yeah.
I don't know about the bike lanes. Maybe the bike lanes will be good.
Yeah.
But at least there's pedestrian space because I feel like everyone acts like, oh, these cars, bikes are just that one underrated thing that like no one's thinking about. But now we are going to take that on and make everything better for bikes. But there's also walking, which
Yeah.
people don't think about.
I'm more scared of getting hit by people riding their bikes versus the cars.
Same.
It's terrifying how they just like whoosh like right through like
I know.
lights and stop
Yeah.
signs. It's scary. I'm more scared of that
I've
personally.
been pretty against that as well. But
Yeah.
with me learning more about New York, I've learned that it seems like cars are the bigger problem. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm always going to be paying a lot more attention to bikes. than
Yes,
cars.
yeah.
But I'll hopefully get back in my bike and try it out sometime.
Yeah. Have you ever ridden your bike in the city? Because for me, growing up on Long Island, you rode your bike everywhere. So
yeah,
I want to see how it's
I
different.
used to ride my bike a lot as a kid. I rode it to Randall's Island.
Oh, very cool.
But
That's really
That
cool.
was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
I think the most recent time I rode my bike was last year during the open streets when they had Park Avenue just open to bikes and walking. I walked up Park Avenue and then another day I biked down.
Okay. Yeah. Especially summer's approaching, so hopefully more situations like that,
streets.
more open streets. I'm excited for
I know
that.
last podcast Brandon talked about how he wanted to do open streets in Astoria.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've finished all of our main discussions, we will get to what we've been up to recently in New York City and stuff that we're planning to do in the future. So for me, I said that I would be going to Bayside in Queens. I would be going to Crossroad Park to get the new DOT bike helmet. And I would go across the Cross Island Parkway. The DOT thing was postponed because of the rain, I guess. So I did not go.
I love Crossroad Park. I bring my dog there a lot, and I walk him in the park.
So this weekend, I won't go to Bayside, I don't think. But the friend I mentioned earlier who lives in New Jersey, obviously he thinks he's the New Yorker. He says, I've been to the Statue of Liberty. I've been to Times Square.
He
So
knows it all.
I'll be showing him the real New York. I'm going to be taking him to Park Chester in the Bronx.
Oh, fun.
I took him to Astoria during the summer. He kind of enjoyed that. So now he'll
Yeah.
be seeing more of the New York. That's not just Manhattan. And that will be fun.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
it's supposed to be beautiful this weekend, too.
I know. We were thinking it was going to be rainy. It's going to be super hot. We'll see some other friends who are native to the area. We'll walk around the Bronx for a bit. This will be my kind of like second actual Bronx walk. And it'll be really fun. Maybe we'll go to Morris Park And if we're really ambitious, maybe even City Island.
Ooh, that's a nice weekend plan.
Yeah. So May 17th, we'll be there. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'm glad to be looking at the Bronx. I've been doing a lot of Parkchester related things lately. I made a drawing recreation of Parkchester and Co-op City as well. And I've just been thinking about Parkchester. Sometimes, like, I have a neighborhood that I just hang on to for a while. And now it's Parkchester. And I'm going to go see it, which is lucky for me.
No, that's cool. And I like how, so when you explore like a new neighborhood, do you go back multiple times to see everything, or it's just more like a day trip kind of thing?
It's complicated the way I walk. I walk, I let things flow. Sometimes I'll miss something, but I will come back. But sometimes it's not even like until a year after. Sometimes it's a few months after. It really depends what I'm hoping to do. If I'm going for another reason and I happen to go by there. So, yeah, I do have a list of places I want to go to. Some of them I've just completely forgotten about. ADHD.
And summer's coming up, so you'll have more free time.
Hopefully I'll have more time to explore everywhere. But I'm not in a rush because I don't want to do what I've done with Queens, which I've kind of run out of places to newly explore. There are still some places I haven't been to yet.
Yeah.
And I'll look at them all in time. I'm not in a rush to find everywhere in New York. I want to be, what's the word?
Like enjoy the journey.
Yes,
enjoy the journey. Yeah. And that's so important too. Or what are some of the neighborhoods in Queens that you are looking forward to exploring as well when you have more free time?
I mean, right now I haven't yet been to Whitestone. I haven't been to a lot of southern Queens.
Okay.
I haven't been to much of Glendale at all. I've been to Ridgewood for a bit. I love Maspeth. I like to go there once a year. But I feel like places like Elmhurst, I've kind of gotten used to by now. But, there's always more to look through it. Like Astoria, I've seen a lot, but there's still a lot more I want to see. There's an Applebee's I want to see that I know people who have worked there, but I've never seen.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, in Whitestone, there's Fort Totten, which is right by the Throgs Neck, if I'm not mistaken. So you can,
I've been to Little Bay Park, not Fort Totten, and of course not the Cross Island Parkway. So I hope to see those places. I want to go as well to like Douglaston and like Little Neck and Glen Oaks and all that. Haven't seen all of that yet.
Yeah, those have a lot of nice parks by Glen Oaks as well.
Yeah.
That I've been to. And like Oakland Gardens is very nice. It's more residential, but nice areas too.
But I will go to all of those places in time. How about you? What have you been up to?
Yes. This past weekend, I celebrated one of my friend's birthdays. I'm very into art and crafting and doing things that are creative. I went to this class where you gather your own pearls. It's called Pearl and the Beast. I think it's in Soho. I'm not entirely sure. And pretty much you bought a mussel and you would, with a tool, open up the mussel and extract the pearls. And then you can make different jewelry items or different like crafts, things that you want. So with Mother's Day coming up, I made something for my mom. I got dim sum this weekend, which was really good, in Little Italy. A few weekends ago, a few of my friends and my cousin ran the Brooklyn Half Marathon. And I don't really get to go to Brooklyn too much because it is kind of harder for me to get there through public transportation. And I was in Prospect Park and in that area. And that's my goal for the summer. I want to explore Brooklyn more. Because that's a borough I haven't really gotten so familiar with.
Brooklyn will also be on my list for looking through places. I have not been to Bay Ridge yet. I went to Diker Heights recently.
Yes.
Enjoyed that, but a lot of Brooklyn to explore, but that can be for another time. And then, of course, there's Staten Island, which, one day.
We'll get there eventually. Yeah. I also like to do walks in New York City. I think the first walk I did, I went to the top of West Harlem and I walked all the way down to the financial district. Okay. So kind of going by like Chelsea Piers and all of that stuff, the West Side Highway, which was really enjoyable. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but starting in East Harlem and walk all the way down. And then I also want to do a Brooklyn walk because Queens, I'm in there often. So just to kind of explore new places would be nice.
Yeah, that'll be great. You should definitely. Well, I haven't been to East Harlem much either. I've been to West Harlem a lot.
Okay.
It'll be good to go to East Harlem. Yeah, walk down Manhattan. Have you done the full length of Queens? I have.
I have not.
I've never done the full length of Manhattan, though.
Okay, and that I did not wear the right shoes for that. I actually really hurt myself doing that. But now I definitely would do it again, but I would just be smarter this time. Yeah, but where in Queens did you start and where did you end?
Well, I've done more than one. I did
Okay.
one from the Upper East Side and then walked all the way down to Nassau County.
Yeah, okay. You ended up in like the Belrose area?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess the rest of them haven't been from end to end. I've walked from Manhattan to Bay Terrace, which is pretty much the end. But yeah, you also reminded me. For Mother's Day, I went down. We were going to go to Soho. Instead, we went to like the East Village, the Lower East Side. And it was really interesting to see. It made me realize, with me looking at the other boroughs rather than just Manhattan all the time, it did make me realize that I should spend a little more time in Manhattan now,
Yeah.
exploring that, because I've spent a lot of time neglecting that, so I should go back down to downtown Manhattan, which I don't really go to much anymore.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, me, Brandon, who was on the first episode, and a few of our other friends in our friend group, we went to the Tenement Museum. That's another thing I've been trying to start to do, is go to a lot of the museums in the area. I'm also a history buff, so I really enjoyed the Tenement Museum and learning about the stories of other people who immigrated here and their experiences here. So that's definitely a museum I would recommend. And the tour guide was amazing.
Where is it?
It's on Orchard Street in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a lot of different tours, and I found them enjoyable.
I know New York has a lot of great museums that talk about New York history. I know there's the City Museum of New York.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I loved, and I have to go back to see that panorama, the new one that they built sometime. But yeah, hopefully I can see all of that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite museum that you've been to, aside from the City Museum?
I'm not too sure. I don't go to museums much. I like the Met from the outside because, it's the Met. It's cool.
Yes.
It's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like the art and all that. It's not my style, but,
That's
I like
totally
some
fine.
things. I know there's the Seneca Village exhibit that I loved. I actually, I did a presentation on it, which was really great. I loved that. Seneca Village was like a thriving African-American community, and then it just got destroyed in favor of Central Park. But who knows, it could have been great if it was around today.
Yeah.
And I like to think about it a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so now for the final segment of our podcast, we will be asking Lauren a trivia question.
Okay.
And I know you've said that...
I'm not the best with trivia, which I love history, so I should be good at trivia, but I'm really not the best, but I'll try.
So, who is the current mayor of New York?
Zoran Mamdani.
Okay, did that make you feel good?
Yes, it did.
Okay, now for the real question.
Okay. Okay.
Did you think it was going to be just that?
I should have known better, honestly.
All right. So, I am going to name 4 communities in New York, 4 neighborhoods. One is in the Bronx, and the rest of them are all in Queens. Can you guess which one it is?
I will try my hardest.
So, Clearview, Addisley Park Historic District, Foxhurst, and Dutch Kills. One of these is not in Queens, but in the Bronx.
Okay.
Which one?
It was what was the second one again?
So, Clearview, Addisley Park Historic District, Foxhurst, and Dutch Kills.
Okay. I feel like such a poser right now. I haven't heard of either of those. I'm going to guess Dutch Hills is in the Bronx.
Dutch Kills?
Yeah.
Dutch Kills is not in the Bronx.
Okay.
It's like a portion of Long Island City. On Apple Maps,
okay.
it doesn't say it's a neighborhood, but
Yeah.
I've heard from locals it's its own kind of community.
Yeah. Okay. See, Long Island City is another place I haven't ventured to.
Yeah. I used
Another
to
one
walk
for
there
the
a lot.
list. Oh, nice. I know it's beautiful. It's beautiful there.
They have things going on. Some of it's beautiful, some of it's not, but it's an interesting place.
Yeah.
So here, I'll say it again. There's Clearview, Addisley Park Historic District, Foxhurst, and Dutch Kills. So you guessed Dutch Kills. It is
Yes,
not.
It is not Dutch Kills.
So it's between those 3.
Those 3.
Which do you think is the Bronx?
Which do I think is the Bronx? So Foxhurst, Clearview, and what was the last one? The third one.
Addisley Park Historic District.
Is it that one? Is that one in the Bronx? Addisley Park Historical District?
No.
No, I told you I'm not good at trivia.
It's around St. Albans.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's an African American community, but unlike other ones which are like Harlem, which are known for poverty and stuff, this one is a very rich one.
Okay.
And it has a story where black tenants weren't really allowed to live there, and then somebody ended up purchasing a house there and lived there, and then eventually all of them started doing it, and it became what it is now.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Wow, so these are so many neighborhoods I want to go to now, just based on how you're describing them.
Clearview and Foxhurst, but
Okay.
do you know? Have you heard of
Clearview?
either of those neighborhoods?
I've heard of the Clearview, the
Okay.
highway, and I know that's in Queens. All right. I'm gonna guess. Oh gosh, this is a bad guess. Maybe Foxhurst? Or is that wrong too?
That's wrong.
Okay.
Just kidding, you're correct.
Oh, okay. Third time's the try.
Yeah, Foxhurst, I've just seen it on the map. It's like
Yeah.
around the South Bronx, but it's like the most northern part, I believe.
Okay. You know what? I was hesitant at first, but I think I was thinking Elmhurst in Queens, and I was like, wait.
I was actually kind of worried about that, saying like, I know there's an Elmhurst, so Foxhurst has to be somewhere else.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's Foxhurst. Clearview is like a part of Whitestone, I believe. It's kind of in that area.
Yeah. So I knew that one had to definitely be in Queens, and if I got that wrong, I would have been like, oh, yeah, my inferencing's bad.
But yeah, I guess you did a good job. Hopefully, maybe next time if we do
Yeah,
this, maybe you'll see if you know any better trivia.
Yes, I'm gonna be studying the Apple map now.
Yeah, I try to make sure to see if I could do something that either you'll really know or you won't know at all. I try to personalize that one a little bit. But I guess that's all for now. But you can tune in next time for episode 3 of BeaconSpireNYC. Once again, I am Ishan Metha, and you can find more of my work on BeaconSpireNYC on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay, well, thank you, Lauren, so much for taking time to have your input on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all so much for listening to this episode. I'm sure if you've been here, you've checked out episode 1, and you can check out episode 3 whenever you want. This is, again, the start to the beginning of my journey of starting New York content. So if you're watching this, it's greatly appreciated. Until then, this is Ishan and Lauren, signing off.